Several high-profile executives reportedly believe that Vince McMahon will eventually be involved in professional wrestling once again. This comes amid rumors that TKO could be looking to sell WWE in the future. It's not good news for Liv Morgan after Monday's dislocated shoulder injury on Raw. In fact, it's the worst-case scenario, with Morgan expected to miss 6 months after requiring surgery for the injury. This reportedly has led plans for Evolution to be completely ripped up following Morgan's injury, affecting the all-women's premium live event. Speaking of plans, what are the plans for the Women's Tag Team Championships now that Morgan is injured and expected to miss half a year of action? We'll let you know on that. WWE reportedly has held talks about adding more members to the Paul Heymon and Seth Rollins faction on WWE TV. We have the ratings for Tuesday's edition of NXT on the CW. TNA Wrestling's Elijah reportedly is injured on Tuesday's NXT episode. The reason why Jordan Grace's theme music was changed on WWE TV has possibly been revealed. TNA Wrestling Hall of Famer Gail Kim reportedly was backstage at NXT this week, and it isn't the first time she's been backstage at a recent NXT show. Plus, we have an update on when Rey Mysterios is expected to return to in-ring action. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we are less than 500 subscribers to go now until 23,000 on that road to 25k. Of course, our goal for this year is 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU. In addition, you can scan that QR code right there on the sidebar or click the link in the video description below or the join button and join the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Let's begin about a potential return to professional wrestling for disgraced former WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon. Could Vince McMahon end up back involved in professional wrestling? Well, McMahon has not been part of day-to-day running of WWE since resigning as TKO Executive Chairman in disgrace in January 2024 after former WWE employee Janelle Grant accused him of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and physical and emotional abuse in a lawsuit. McMahon, though, does still remain a TKO shareholder. While no longer heavily involved with WWE, McMahon recently tried to purchase Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, with BKFC President David Feldman telling Justin Barrasso of Undisputed, quote, "He's a great guy, his whole team is great, but the timing wasn't right for us. He's Vince McMahon. If I were him, I'd want creative control too. He was awesome, very complimentary, and he was very serious to do business," end quote. Now, McMahon's move to buy BKFC comes after the launch of the 79-year-old's entertainment company, 14th and I. Barrasso noted, though, that those with inside knowledge are not sold on the idea that McMahon's company is going to suddenly develop TV shows or movies. Instead, several executives within combat sports and pro wrestling believe, quote, "McMahon will ultimately find himself involved again in professional wrestling," end quote. Wrestlers also told Barrasso off the record that McMahon is still held in high regard and there is a great deal of support for the former WWE CEO. There were claims, of course, in 2025 that McMahon was interested in buying back WWE, but those claims were quickly debunked. Beyond his entertainment ventures, McMahon is facing multiple lawsuits, in addition to the suit filed by Janelle Grant, which recently saw John Laurinaitis flip to agree to cooperate with Grant. McMahon is being sued by former Ring Boys. McMahon was also recently accused of withholding documents in relation to an ongoing lawsuit from WWE shareholders over WWE's merger with UFC into TKO. Now, when it comes to TKO, we've got a bit of an update here because there have been rumors about possibly this idea that TKO could want to sell WWE. Now, rumors about WWE's future as part of TKO Group Holdings have swirled over the past several weeks, ever since it was claimed by former WWE commentator Jonathan Coachman that Vince McMahon was interested in buying back WWE. Although it quickly emerged that McMahon would almost certainly not have the financial means to purchase WWE from TKO, further rumors were fueled on June 18th after a Yahoo Finance story about All Elite Wrestling and the upcoming Warner Bros. Discovery split stated, quote, "In September 2023, Endeavor completed a $21 billion merger between WWE and UFC, forming TKO Group. Netflix began exclusively streaming WWE's flagship Raw show in January as part of a $5 billion 10-year rights deal. Speculation has since surfaced that TKO Group may look to unload WWE," end quote. Dave Meltzer has since reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that it has been denied TKO are looking to offload WWE. Quote, the stories of him, Vince McMahon, somehow buying WWE, and I even saw a line in a story about how TKO is looking to sell WWE, and it's like, aside from that being denied all day, TKO has just saved between $100 million and $150 million by essentially removing so many jobs and things like that because they could operate UFC and WWE with the same office staff, Meltzer said. While McMahon may not be able to buy back WWE, he is still a substantial TKO shareholder, owning approximately 3.25% of TKO Group. Now, it's not good news when it comes to Liv Morgan and her injury she sustained Monday night on Raw. Liv Morgan has been struck by the worst case scenario in her dislocated shoulder injury, and the former Women's World Champion is set to miss a substantial amount of time because of the issue. Morgan sustained the injury on the June 16th edition of Monday Night Raw after taking a front bump following a trip during her match with Kairi Sane. The match was quickly called off and Morgan was helped to the back, with the injury considered a freak accident. The timetable on returning from a dislocated shoulder can vary greatly, but Morgan has been hit with the worst case scenario, with Bodyslam.net reporting that Liv is expected to be out of action for up to 6 months. PW Insider added that Morgan will require surgery to correct the issue and she'll be on the shelf for a lengthy amount of time. Morgan has been pulled from Fanatics Fest due to the injury. Kairi Sane also addressed the injury to Morgan, tweeting, quote, one of the most painful things for me is when a match is decided not by wrestling, but because of an injury. I always step into the ring with deep respect for my opponents, and I train hard every day to give the audience something they can truly enjoy. Even if it was never intentional, knowing that someone was hurt in a match with me is something I carry deeply. It breaks my heart. I hope with all my heart for a full and speedy recovery. I will continue to give my all, hoping to bring excitement, not pain, to the ring. Now, as far as what this means when it comes to plans moving forward, well, a bit of an update here with possible chaos when it comes to plans for Evolution. Now, after suffering a shoulder dislocation on the June 16th edition of Raw, Liv Morgan is expected to be out of action for up to 6 months, and it's led to WWE reportedly tearing up plans for the upcoming Evolution PLE. Now, it's said that WWE have had to scrap a big-time match scheduled for the Premium Live event, with the intended spot on the card set to be filled by someone else. For all intents and purposes, it looks like WWE were pivoting to a Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus the Bella Twins match at Evolution, with the Bellas having not teamed together since October 2018. Whether Nikki and Brie will team up to face another team is unknown at this time. Nikki Bella was even planned for an angle with Morgan on the June 16th edition of Raw, but the spot was scrapped after Liv's injury. Dave Meltzer reported on Wrestling Observer Radio, quote, it's true, Nikki Bella was there and she was going to do a run-in in the Liv Morgan and Kairi Sane match to help set up the next part of the angle. They decided for whatever reason, I guess because everything was a panic at the point, so that's why she was not on the show, even though she had been advertised all week. So Nikki Bella was there, but unfortunately because of the injury, they had to scrap plans. Now, what does this mean for the Women's Tag Team Championships? That's another really interesting point, isn't it? Now, WWE have yet to make a decision on the future of the Women's Tag Team Championships, which are currently held still by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. It is likely WWE will hold creative meetings to discuss what to do with the titles on Thursday ahead of Friday's episode of SmackDown. That is according to Dave Meltzer, who reported on Wrestling Observer Radio, quotes, from what I was told, the key meetings have not yet been held as to what to do, so that's where it stands right now. Obviously, changes are going to be made. The meetings are probably going to be Thursday, but what I was told is the key stuff has not been discussed yet as far as what they're going to do. Now, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are in their 4th reign together as WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, having regained the titles on the Raw after WrestleMania 41. However, an option for WWE could be to vacate the Women's Tag Team Championships, but the company could also take inspiration from Chelsea Green's run with the titles and replace Morgan as champion while keeping the titles with Raquel Rodriguez and a new partner. It's the same thing that happened, of course, with Jade Cargill and Naomi too, so there is precedent for it, but we'll have to wait and see indeed what WWE does decide to do. Now, an interesting report here regarding the faction involving Seth Rollins, Paul Heymon, Bron Breakker, and Bronson Reed, because new members may be added to the Paul Heymon and Seth Rollins-led faction on Monday Night Raw. While there initially weren't plans to expand the group beyond Heymon, Rollins, and Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed was ultimately added as to the yet unnamed faction on the May 24th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. The group could be set to receive even more members, with Bodyslam.net reporting that WWE have held recent talks about adding more talents to the stable at some point down the line. if WWE plan to move forward with adding talents to the group. It's unknown, but two names that have been pitched for the Seth Rollins faction were Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. Both Page and Saints are part of WWE NXT and have been feuding over the NXT North American Championship. The expectation is Saints will move up to the main roster in the near future, having signed with WWE from All Elite Wrestling earlier this year. Seth Rollins and Paul Heymon became allies in the main event of WrestleMania 41 Saturday, with Heymon helping Rollins defeat Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Bron Breakker then joined the new group on the Raw after WrestleMania 41. Now let's talk about the ratings for Tuesday's episode of WWE NXT. Tuesday night's WWE NXT averaged 660,000 viewers on the CW, which is down over 9% from last week. This marks the lowest audience total for the show since May 27th. In the 18-49 demo, NXT drew a 0.16 rating. That number is up close to 7% from last week and is the best rating the show has done in that category since April 22nd. NXT was tied for 8th place in the demo among the 11 English language network TV shows in prime time. The show went head-to-head with the deciding game, that being Game 6 of the NHL Stanley Cup Final on TBS, which topped all of television with a 0.65 rating in the 18-49 and averaged 2.388 million viewers overall. A simulcast on True TV added another 375,000 viewers to the game and drew a 0.11 in the demo. As compared to the same week in 2024, when the show still aired on USA Network, NXT's overall viewership was down 8.8%, while its 18-49 rating was down 38.5%. Now, speaking of NXT on Tuesday, TNA Wrestling's Elijah possibly was injured. TNA's Elijah made his return to a WWE ring on the June 17th edition of NXT, but the former Elias suffered an injury during the match. Elijah was teaming with Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura against the team of AJ Francis, Wesley, and Trick Williams, and seemingly when attempting an Undertaker rope walk spot suffered some kind of injury to his arm, with Elijah refraining from using his left arm for the remainder of the match. F4W Online's Brian Alvarez reported that it appeared as though Elijah suffered a potential triceps or elbow injury after landing really weirdly on his elbow during the rope walk spot. Elijah is advertised for TNA's upcoming TV tapings in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Friday, June 20th and Saturday, June 21st, but there is no word on the severity of the injury nor if Elijah will miss any time in the ring. The match on June 17th was Elijah's first in an NXT ring since competing in the NXT Championship No. 1 Contenders Battle Royal on May 6th, and it was his first non-Battle Royal televised appearance in a WWE ring since a singles loss to Amos on Raw in April of 2023. Now, a big talking point coming out of NXT on Tuesday was the new theme song for Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace has a new theme song, and it wasn't well received by the audience. The NXT crowd chanted "Fire Deaf Rebel" at the new theme, which Jordynne then joked that she hoped fans would suspend disbelief for and vibe with. The theme music that Jordynne Grace used in TNA and her early NXT run actually belongs to her, and she retains the rights to. However, that, among other things, reportedly led to the change. Fightful Select have been told that, especially in recent months, WWE has been adamant again about owning theme songs that are used. Beyond that, a change was necessitated within due to the sirens at the start of it, with Bron Breakker's theme also already having sirens and the natural family connection to Scott Steiner that was given the priority. Metro Booming has offered to do themes for WWE, as have some other mainstream acts, but has been more picky on owning the tracks in many cases. Potentially that's why they're still using Def Rebel. Gail Kim reportedly was backstage at NXT on Tuesday. Fightful Select reporting they have learned that wrestling legend Gail Kim was backstage at this week's NXT. Fightful are told this also isn't the first time she's been there as of late. When Fightful asked if she's officially with the company, WWE sources said she isn't as of this moment. Of course, Gail Kim was fired from TNA Wrestling earlier this year and was expected to have immediate interest from companies and had people pushing for her in both AEW and WWE. Fightful say they've heard that WWE has been interested in bringing her on board since she became available. The company has kept her presence at shows, though, very quiet. And finally, a bit of an update here when it comes to Rey Mysterio and his return to in-ring action. Rey Mysterio has been out of action since April of this year, with the legendary luchador tearing his groin ahead of WrestleMania 41. The former WWE champion will be itching to make his return for various reasons, never mind the fact that WWE now owns his former stomping grounds AAA Lucha Libre Worldwide. Mysterio's friend and former tag team partner Conan was speaking about Mysterio's proposed return during a recent episode of his K100 podcast, revealing that Mysterio will be back in August. K-Dog also revealed that Mysterio will be taking part in future AAA shows. He said, quote, "Yeah, he will be in future shows. Great working with him and Dom, and I can't wait to see who else I'm going to work with," revealed Conan. Mysterio, of course, made his name in AAA in the early 1990s, working for the Lucha Libre promotion in ECW in the mid-90s as part of a talent-sharing relationship before signing with WCW. In WWE, Mysterio's had a litany of injuries, many concerning his knees, with the Hall of Famer having to drastically change his in-ring style from his heyday. However, he's still going strong at this point in his career. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, as you can see right there. We'll allow less than 500 to go until 23,000 on that road to 25k. Our goal is to hit 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. Links in the video description below. You can click the join button or scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.